10 things you must work on every day and or get left behind. Business, wealth, power, they're not accidents. They're built from daily, ruthless habits. Skip one, and the whole system cracks. But the last thing on this list, that's what separates the rich from the replaceable. Miss it, and you're toast. Let's talk about the most important language in the world. It's not English, it's not Mandarin, it's not code. It's the language of numbers. It's the raw, unfiltered language of money. If you are not fluent in your own financial numbers, you are choosing to be illiterate in the world of wealth and power. And let me be very clear, this is not about budgeting. Budgeting is for people who plan to stay small, for those who are content with managing scarcity. Budgeting is about restriction. I'm talking about something else entirely. I'm talking about a daily, obsessive, ruthless financial inquisition. You must know to the penny where every single dollar comes from and where every single dollar goes. It must become a non-negotiable ritual, as essential as breathing. It should be the first thing you look at in the morning to set the strategic tone for your day, and the last thing you review at night to account for your decisions. This isn't a chore. It is the fundamental act of taking control. Without this knowledge, you are not a player in the game. You are the ball, being kicked around by forces you refuse to understand. The numbers tell a story, and you have been ignoring it for far too long. You are the CEO of your own life, your own corporation, Me, Inc. Now, can you imagine a CEO of a public company standing up in front of their board of directors and saying, I don't really know our cash flow, our burn rate is a bit of a mystery, and our revenue streams are, well, they just sort of happen? That CEO would be fired before they finished the sentence. They'd be escorted out of the building by security. It would be a corporate scandal. Yet you do this to yourself every single day. You operate the most important enterprise in the world, your own financial freedom, with a level of negligence that would be considered criminal in any other context. This isn't about shaming you. It's about waking you up to the gravity of your own irresponsibility. You need a personal profit and loss statement. You need to know your balance sheet. What are your assets? What are your liabilities? What is your monthly net profit? Or, as is the case for most, your staggering net loss. You track it on a spreadsheet. You use an app. You write it in a notebook with a pen. I don't care about the method. I care about the obsession. The method is the tool. The obsession is the mindset that wields it. This obsession is the first step toward treating your life like a business worthy of investment. Because if you don't know your numbers, you can't make strategic decisions. You're just guessing. You're a blindfolded archer, hoping to hit a target you can't even see. Every financial decision you make without this data is a shot in the dark. Buying a coffee, subscribing to a new service, going out for an expensive dinner, these aren't just small expenses, they are uninformed capital allocation decisions made by a negligent CEO. You have no idea if you can afford them, not in the sense of, do I have the cash right now, but in the sense of, what is the return on this investment for me, Inc.? This daily ritual isn't about restriction, it's about clarity. It's the harsh, cold, beautiful light of reality. It shows you exactly where your financial ship is leaking, and it's always leaking. There are always inefficiencies, there are always parasitic subscriptions, there are always wasteful habits. Your job is to find the leaks and plug them, not tomorrow, today. This is the foundation upon which all wealth, all freedom is built. Ignore it, and you're building your empire on quicksand. The second part of knowing your numbers is a mindset shift so profound it will make you physically recoil from frivolous spending. You have to stop seeing the price tag of an item and start seeing its future value. That $5 coffee isn't $5. It's the $50 or $500 that it would have become if you had invested it instead. Every dollar you spend on a depreciating asset or a fleeting experience is a soldier you've sent to die a pointless death on the battlefield of consumption. A dollar invested, however, is a soldier you send out to conquer new territory and bring back prisoners, which are more dollars. This is the fundamental law of capital. It wants to grow. It has an innate, powerful desire to multiply. Your job is to simply give it the opportunity to do so. When you look at a new car, a new phone, a designer jacket, you are not to ask, can I afford this? That is the question of a peasant. The question of a king is, what is the opportunity cost of this purchase? What future freedom am I sacrificing for this present comfort? That $30,000 car isn't $30,000. It's the $300,000 it could have become over 20 years in a simple index fund. It's not a car, it's a piece of your freedom. You are literally trading a massive chunk of your future financial independence for a metal box that will be worth a fraction of its price in 5 years and will actively cost you money every single day in insurance, fuel, and maintenance. Is it worth it? Almost never. This isn't about living like a monk. It's about being a ruthless, strategic investor in your own future. You must make your money work for you, not the other way around. Most people are slaves to their money because they direct it toward liabilities instead of assets. They buy things that take money out of their pocket, not things that put money in. This calculation must become second nature. It must be an automatic internal monologue that runs every time you are about to make a purchase over a certain threshold. Let's say $20. For anything over $20, you pause and run the numbers. What could this $20 become in 10, 20, 30 years? Is this momentary satisfaction worth sacrificing a tangible piece of my future wealth? Is this fleeting dopamine hit worth more than my eventual liberation? The answer is almost always a resounding no. This isn't about depriving yourself of joy, it's about redefining joy. The fleeting pleasure of a new gadget cannot compare to the profound, unshakable security of owning your time. That is the ultimate luxury. Not the fancy watch, but the ability to wake up on a Tuesday and do whatever you want. That freedom is purchased one disciplined financial decision at a time by understanding the future value of every dollar you command. You are a general, and your dollars are your army. Don't send them on suicide missions. Audit time. Now, let's talk about an asset far more valuable and infinitely scarcer than money. Time. You can always make more money. You can never, ever make more time. Every second that ticks by is a piece of your life that is gone forever, burned away, never to be recovered. It is your ultimate non-renewable resource, and most of you treat it like it's infinite. You waste it, you give it away, you let others steal it from you with casual impunity. It's a form of slow-motion suicide. You need to start auditing your time with the same ruthlessness you audit your finances. In fact, be even more brutal, because the stakes are higher. The first mandate is the zero return purge. You must take a cold, hard look at your calendar, your relationships, and your habits, and identify the cockroaches. A cockroach is anything or anyone that consumes your time and provides zero meaningful return on investment. They are the parasites feeding on your life force. These are the endless, pointless meetings at work that could have been a 3-sentence email. These are the friends who do nothing but complain and drain your energy without ever offering support, insight, or inspiration in return. These are the hours you spend mindlessly scrolling through social media, consuming content that is precision engineered to make you feel inadequate, angry, or envious. These are the subscriptions to streaming services you barely use. These are the commitments you said yes to out of a misplaced sense of guilt, not out of strategic alignment with your goals. They are parasites on your most valuable asset. Your job is to exterminate them, not politely, ruthlessly. This will be deeply uncomfortable. You will have to say no to people, and they won't like it. You will have to quit things you've been doing for years. You might hurt some feelings. Get over it. This is not personal. It is business, the business of your life. You are the CEO of Me Inc., and you are trimming the fat. You are eliminating operational inefficiencies that are killing your bottom line, which in this case is your potential. The person who wants an hour of your time for a quick chat with no clear agenda is trying to steal from you. The friend who calls only to unload their negativity is an emotional vampire, sucking away the energy you need to build your future. The TV show you binge watch for 6 hours is a thief of your potential. You wouldn't let someone walk into your house and take your television. Why do you let these things walk into your life and steal your time? It's far more valuable. Conduct this audit weekly. Every Sunday, look at the week ahead and the week that passed. Where did your time go? What was the ROI? Be honest. And what are you going to cut starting now? Be merciless. Your future self is begging you to do this. Once you have purged the cockroaches, you are left with a block of pure, unadulterated, high-value time. This is your growth capital. This is the soil in which you will plant the seeds of your empire. The second mandate is to protect it and invest it wisely. You must become a fortress when it comes to your schedule. You don't find time for important work. You make time and you defend that time with your life. This is the concept of the productive block. You must schedule non-negotiable multi-hour blocks of time in your calendar for deep, focused, high-yield activities. This is the time you spend building your business, learning a new skill, going to the gym, or whatever activity provides the highest return for your long-term goals. And when I say non-negotiable, I mean it. This block of time is sacred. It's a meeting with the most important person in your life, the future you. You do not cancel it. You do not move it for something less important. A notification on your phone is not a valid reason to break this appointment. It is an enemy trying to breach your walls. A colleague's urgent request is not a valid reason. Their poor planning is not your emergency. Your own fleeting desire for distraction is not a valid reason. It is the traitor within the gates. You turn off your phone, you close your email, you shut your door, you create a sterile environment where you can do the hard, uncomfortable work that matters. Most people's lives are a chaotic mess of reactive responses. They wake up, grab their phone, check their email, and their day is immediately hijacked by other people's agendas. They spend the entire day putting out small fires, responding to endless requests, and being busy. But at the end of the day, they have made zero progress on their own most important goals. They were busy, but they were not productive. They were a firefighter in someone else's life while their own house burned down. The productive block strategy inverts this. You pay yourself first with your time. The first and best hours of your day are invested in your own priorities. The rest of the day can be for reacting to the world. But you've already secured your win. You've already moved the needle on what actually matters. This requires a level of discipline most people lack. It requires you to see distraction not as a minor annoyance, but as a direct assault on your wealth and freedom. Every notification, every interruption is an enemy combatant trying to breach the walls of your fortress. Defend it. Your time is the raw material of your success. Stop giving it away for free. Guard it, invest it, and watch your life transform from a series of random reactions into a deliberate and powerful creation. Always selling. Whether you like it or not, whether it makes you uncomfortable or not, you are in sales. Every single day, from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep, you are selling. If you're an entrepreneur, you're selling your product or service. If you're an employee, you're selling your competence and value to your boss and colleagues. If you're fundraising, you're selling your vision to investors. If you're in a relationship, you're selling the idea of a shared future. You are always selling. The people who understand this thrive, and the people who deny it get left behind. They become a commodity. They wonder why they get passed over for promotions, why their brilliant ideas are ignored, and why they can't seem to get ahead. It's because they don't know how to sell. The first rule of this constant state of selling is what I call the 90-second mandate. You must be able to articulate your value, your idea, or your request clearly, concisely, and compellingly in 90 seconds or less. If you can't get my attention, articulate a problem, and convince me of your value in 90 seconds, you're done. I'm mentally moving on, and so is the rest of the world. We live in an economy of attention, and attention spans are shrinking to zero. You don't have 5 minutes. You don't have a captive audience. You have 90 seconds to prove you are not a waste of my time. This is the modern elevator pitch. It's not just for startups, it's for life. You need to have a 90-second pitch for yourself. Who are you? What do you do? What problem do you solve? And why should anyone care? You need to have it memorized. You need to have it rehearsed so many times that it becomes an extension of you. It should roll off your tongue as naturally and confidently as your own name. You also need a 90-second pitch for every significant idea you have. Before you walk into a meeting, before you send a critical email, before you ask for anything of substance, you should be able to distill your entire proposition into a powerful 90-second narrative. Start with the problem, make it hurt, agitate it, then present your solution. How does it elegantly fix the pain? And finally, state the ask. What do you want me to do? Most people do the exact opposite. They ramble. They give endless, self-indulgent backstory. They talk about themselves and their process. They fail to get to the point, and by the time they do, the listener has already mentally checked out. They're thinking about their laundry, their lunch, their next meeting. You've lost them. The ability to be concise is a superpower. It signals clarity of thought. It signals respect for the other person's time, which is the rarest commodity. And it forces you to truly understand what you're offering. If you can't explain it simply, you don't understand it well enough. Go back and do the work. Spend time crafting these pitches, write them down, Practice them in front of a mirror, record yourself, and listen to it. Does it sound compelling? Is it weak? Refine them until they are sharp, powerful, and effective. This single skill will put you in the top 1% of communicators. The corollary to the 90-second mandate is the art of the ask. It's astonishing how many people go through life wanting things they never receive, simply because they are too afraid to ask for them. It is a quiet epidemic of passivity. They want a raise, but they wait for their boss to graciously offer it. They want the sale, but they talk around the closing, hoping the customer will just volunteer to buy. They want investment, but they present their idea and then just stand there in awkward silence, hoping for the best. This passivity is a disease. It is a fundamental misunderstanding of how the world works. The world does not give you what you deserve. It gives you what you demand. It gives you what you have the courage to ask for. You must be willing to look someone in the eye and say, I want this. This is the salary I require. I want you to invest this amount. I want you to sign this contract. You must do it without apology, without hesitation, and without fear. The worst thing that can possibly happen is they say no. That's it. A no is just data. It's not a personal rejection. It's not a reflection of your worth. It is simply information you can use to refine your pitch, find a different buyer, or improve your offering. But if you never ask, the answer is always no. You have pre-rejected yourself on behalf of the world. It's a form of self-sabotage rooted in a deep fear of rejection. You must cauterize this fear. You must see every opportunity to ask as a chance to collect data and move forward. Think of all the opportunities you've missed because you were too timid to make the ask. The promotion, the client, the partnership. The cumulative cost of that timidity is immense. It is the invisible tax on your potential, and it has been compounding for years. Start small if you have to. Ask for a 10% discount at a coffee shop. Ask for a better table at a restaurant. Ask a stranger for directions, even if you know the way. Practice the physical act of asking for things and getting comfortable with both yes and no. Then, move on to the bigger asks, the ones that matter for your career and your wealth. You are a salesperson for me, Incas. A salesperson who doesn't ask for the sale is not a salesperson at all. They are a tour guide. Don't be a tour guide in your own life. Be a closer. Ask for what you want, directly, clearly, and be prepared for the world to start giving it to you. Execute decisively. There is a pandemic of deliberation in the world. People are drowning in information, options, and opinions, and it has led to a state of chronic paralysis. People research for months, confusing the collection of information with action. They create 10-year plans that are obsolete before the ink is dry. They wait for the perfect time, which is a mythical moment that will never arrive. They agonize over every minor decision as if it were an irreversible life or death choice. This is all a masquerade for fear, fear of failure, fear of making a mistake, fear of the unknown. And this indecision is infinitely more costly than making the wrong decision. You need to kill this tendency and replace it with decisive execution. The first principle here is the 90-day kill switch. Stop falling in love with your ideas. Ideas are worthless. They are a dime a dozen. Execution is everything. For any new venture, new strategy, or new habit, you give it a 90-day window to prove itself. That's it. 3 months. In that 90-day period, you don't just try. You don't dabble. You go all in. You execute with ferocious, singular intensity. But before you start, you define the key performance indicators, KPIs. What are the specific measurable metrics that will define success or failure? It's not a feeling. It's a number on a spreadsheet. Is it a certain amount of revenue, a certain number of new clients, a specific percentage of weight loss, a measurable improvement in a skill? You define these KPIs up front in cold, hard numbers, and then you execute for 90 days. You live and breathe this one objective. At the end of that period, you stop and look at the data. Did you hit the numbers? Is there a clear upward trajectory that suggests this venture has legs? If the answer is yes, fantastic. You double down, you reinvest, you give it another 90-day cycle with new, more ambitious KPIs. But if the answer is no, if the data shows that it's a dog, that it's not working, that the return on your investment of time, energy, and capital is not there, you kill it. You take the idea out behind the barn and you shoot it, without emotion, without regret. It's not a failure, it's a successful experiment that produced a negative result. It's valuable data. You've learned something critical, you now know what doesn't work, and you can redeploy your precious capital, your time, and money to the next experiment. This framework saves you from the single greatest trap for entrepreneurs and ambitious people, flogging a dead horse for years out of ego and emotional attachment. Stop trying for years, run 90-day sprints, get data, be ruthless, kill what doesn't work, and pour gasoline on what does. This leads directly to the second mandate of execution, understanding the staggering cost of indecision. The time you spend agonizing between option A and option B is time you are not executing on either. You are stagnant. You are burning your most valuable assets, time and momentum, for absolutely nothing. In most cases, the difference in outcome between two reasonable options is far less than the cost of the delay caused by choosing between them. Making a good enough decision right now and executing on it with full force is vastly superior to waiting weeks or months to make the perfect decision. Because the perfect decision doesn't exist, it's a mirage created by fear. You can only make the best decision possible with the limited information you have right now. Once you execute, you start getting feedback from the real world. You get data, and that data will tell you if you need to pivot, adjust, or stay the course. The person who makes a decision, executes, and course corrects based on real-world feedback will be miles ahead of the person who is still sitting in their office, whiteboarding the pros and cons. Think of indecision as an expense. Every day you delay, you are actively losing money, opportunity, and energy. It's a tax on your progress, and you are paying it willingly. So how do you break this cycle? You adopt a bias for action. For reversible decisions, and most decisions are reversible, give yourself an absurdly short timeline, an hour, a day. Make the call and move. The goal is not to always be right. The goal is to always be moving, learning, and iterating. The fear of being wrong is what paralyzes people. You must reframe this. Being wrong is just another word for learning. It's a data point. The only true failure is inaction. Inaction teaches you nothing. It generates no data. It leaves you in the exact same spot, only poorer in time and spirit. So make the decision. Pick a path, run forward. If you hit a wall, you'll know it's a wall. You can back up and choose another path. The person paralyzed by indecision is still at the starting line, wondering if there might be walls down any of the paths. Stop wondering. Start running. Speed of implementation is a strategic advantage that will crush deliberative competitors every single time. Execute, get data, adjust, repeat. That is the rhythm of success. Embrace reality. The final domain, and arguably the most important, is your relationship with the truth. Specifically, the brutal, uncomfortable, and often painful truth. Most people live in a carefully constructed fantasy world. They build a fortress of self-serving narratives to protect their fragile ego. They tell themselves stories about why they aren't successful. It's the economy, it's their boss, it's their upbringing, it's a lack of opportunity. These are all lies. They are sophisticated excuses designed to shield them from the devastating truth. The problem is them. If you want to achieve anything of substance, you must demolish this fantasy world and learn to embrace reality in all its harsh, unforgiving glory. The first step is to conduct a brutal self-audit. This is not a feel-good exercise in identifying your strengths. This is a cold-blooded accounting of your weaknesses, your failures, your addictions, and your delusions. You need to sit down, alone, with a piece of paper or a blank document, and answer some hard questions with unflinching honesty. What are you truly terrible at? Not just not good at, but fundamentally incompetent in. What skills do you lack that are absolutely essential for your goals? Where have you consistently failed in the past? And what was the real reason, stripped of all excuses? What is the one truth about yourself and your situation that you have been avoiding at all costs? What are your crutches? What are your addictions to comfort? You must write these things down. The act of putting them into words makes them real and undeniable. It drags them out of the murky shadows of your subconscious and into the harsh light of day. You are confronting the monster in the closet. You are turning on the lights and seeing it for what it is. This process is not meant to be an act of self-flagellation. It is the foundation of all strategy. You cannot devise a winning strategy from a false starting position. If you are navigating a map, you must first know your precise location. This audit is your "you are here" sign. It's ugly, it's humbling, but it is the only true starting point. Once you have this list of brutal facts, you own them. They no longer have power over you. Your weakness in sales is no longer a shameful secret. It's a known variable. Now you can create a plan. Hire a salesperson, take a course, partner with someone who has that skill. Your fear of public speaking is no longer a debilitating anxiety. It's a project. You can join Toastmasters, get a coach, and start practicing. Acknowledging reality, especially the parts you don't like, is the ultimate act of power. It's the moment you stop being a victim of your circumstances and start becoming the architect of your response to them. This brings us to the final and most crucial commandment. This is the one I promised you, the one that makes everything else work. It's the ultimate mindset shift that separates the durable winners from the fleeting successes and the permanent failures. You must become the unemotional observer of your own life and business. You must learn to detach your ego from the outcomes. The market, your career, your investments, these are not personal. They are a massive, complex, data-generating machine. Your results, whether they are glorious successes or catastrophic failures, are simply data points. They are not a judgment on your character. They are not a measure of your worth as a human being. They are feedback, that is all. When an investment goes to zero, it is not the universe telling you that you are a stupid, worthless person. It is the market providing you with a very expensive but very valuable piece of data about your thesis. Your job is to analyze that data unemotionally. Why did it fail? Was the premise wrong? Was the timing off? Was my execution flawed? What can I learn from this? And then you take that learning and apply it to the next investment. The ego gets in the way of this process. The ego feels shame, so it hides the failure and pretends it never happened. The ego feels anger, so it blames someone or something else. The ego feels fear, so it refuses to invest again. The ego makes it personal, and in doing so, it blocks the lesson. The person who can treat their failures as tuition for their education is the person who will inevitably win. This is the hardest thing to do because we are wired to be emotional creatures. But it is a skill you can cultivate. It's a mental muscle. You practice it every day in small ways. When you get a rejection email, you take a breath and say, "Interesting data." When a project fails, you say, "What did this experiment teach me?" You systematically strip the emotional language from your analysis of your own performance. You become a scientist in the laboratory of your own life. Your hypotheses are your strategies. Your experiments are your actions, and your results are your data. The goal is not to have every experiment succeed. That is impossible. The goal is to learn from every single one and to keep running new, smarter experiments based on the data you collect. This detachment, this ability to observe without ego, is the source of all resilience. It's what allows you to take the hits, get back up, and keep moving forward, smarter and stronger than before. It is the filter that guarantees your long-term survival and success. Without it, your first major failure will break you. With it, you are unbreakable. So, stop looking for motivation. Stop waiting to feel good. Feelings are fickle. They are liars. They are poor advisors. Instead, demand results. Demand discipline. The principles we've talked about today are not a path to happiness. Happiness is a fleeting emotion. They are a path to something far more valuable, freedom. The freedom to do what you want, with whom you want, whenever you want. The freedom that comes from owning your time, your finances, and your life. The price of this freedom is daily, relentless, unemotional discipline. It's a high price. Most people will never be willing to pay it. But the reward is everything. The reward is your life, on your terms. Now the question is, are you willing to pay the price? The work starts now.